Welcome to Gathering at the Table's July meeting. This month, we're talking about the Beatitudes, which is found in Matthew chapter 5, verses 1 through 11. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up the mountain, and after he sat down, his disciples came to him. He began to speak, and he taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will receive mercy. Blessed are the poor in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for the sake of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all types of evil against you falsely on my account." Have you ever been in a situation where you knew that you had tasks to do, but you just didn't have the energy to start them? That's where I'm at this week. There's a way of talking about this called spoon theory. Spoon theory was first used to put to words people's experiences that were dealing with chronic pain. Spoons are used to measure the amount of energy that someone has for doing things each day. Say we get a good night's sleep and are feeling well. We wake up with 10 spoons worth of energy and can work on some things for the day. But say we didn't feel well and we're sick or hurting, or maybe something's going on where we only wake up with 3 spoons. Tasks take different amounts of spoons to complete, so maybe showering and getting dressed are 2 spoons. Well, that would leave us with only 1 spoon for the rest of the day. This week, I'm really low on spoons, but it's not due to lack of sleep or any health-related issues. Seeing everything going on in the news and being worried about the future is what's taking up a lot of spoons for me. I think we need to recognize that many of us are grieving, many of us are angry, and many of us are exhausted, and many of us are some weird combination of a couple or all of those things. The political landscape in the US tells us that we should direct this anger and hurt toward those that disagree with us. That's politics right now, right? If we're mad at one side, we'll vote for the other. It's an election strategy that tries to push people further and further to the most extreme opinions of their parties. Most Americans, though, at least those who participated in a poll, don't share this view of politics. In a recent poll, only 33% of people say that they have confidence in the Supreme Court and the decisions that they make. I talk about this week because so much of the talk has revolved around concepts. But laws and economics and hate affect people in very real ways. Real people who are not just case studies or someone being lifted up to prove a point. They're our friends, our family, the people we see when we go get coffee and food. They're us. And I'm all for debating concepts, especially for how they can make our world better. But the debate hits different when what we're debating affects someone's ability to exist. The debate hits different when we're telling someone that they no longer have a voice in how they receive medical care or that their life doesn't matter. It's not just about an opinion or belief at that point, it's about a person's right to be seen as a person in society. And that's something that I can't debate because God tells us that we are made in God's image and that we are loved unconditionally, all of us. And if we get into that debate and work toward telling someone that they're less human, less worthy, then we're taking a stance that's the very opposite of what Christ taught and embodied. Far be it from me to try to convince people that they are outside God's grace. Our calling is the exact opposite. In Matthew chapter 5, Jesus is preaching to the disciples and teaching them, and he says some honestly pretty weird stuff. A lot of time, I think we substitute the word blessed for happy. And if we do this here, what Jesus is saying doesn't make any sense at all. We're not going to be happy when we're mourning, when we're meek, when we are hungry and we thirst for righteousness. We're not going to be happy because each of these things, each of these ways of being by definition means we're going through something that is hard and would make us unhappy in the first place. That's not how Jesus is using the word blessed. Jesus is using the word blessed to show that God is with us. God is with those who suffer in this way. God walks alongside them in their struggles and their pain and in their grief. And Jesus preaches this message by drawing rhetorical parallels. And it's hard to spot initially because he does this by not mentioning the people who we would think are blessed. Think of society today. Who would we claim that are blessed? Some that come to mind for me are the ones that have it easier, the rich, the powerful, maybe the politicians that are making all these decisions. But that's not what Jesus is saying. Jesus is saying that God is with those who are experiencing the hard things. And then in response to this, he offers hope in the same statement. For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. For they will be comforted. For they will inherit the earth. For they will be filled. For they will receive mercy. For they will see God. For they will be called children of God. For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Your reward is great in heaven. Jesus offers this hopeful view during an extremely hard time. He offers an alternative way of living that's lifting up the vulnerable, the hurting, the ones that society wants to ignore and reject and persecute. Us gathering together proclaims the same thing in action, even if it doesn't say it all the time in words. Whether you join us online or in person, we proclaim that we live into an alternate view of what society should be. As a community, we don't buy into the hate or buy into the division. We come together sharing ourselves and our perspectives while respecting and recognizing that others that are doing the same. We have each had our own experiences where we weren't accepted, we weren't welcomed for who we are, and in response, instead of returning this hurt for hurt and hate for hate, we create this community out of respect and love. There's hope in Jesus's words. And as we try to live them out, as we try to follow, there's hope in gathering at the table. As a community, what we do together gives me hope. Look at us, look at what we are doing. We are the other voice that says, it doesn't have to be this way. We are friends and family that refuse to hate. And we don't just talk about it, we live it. Now, we're not going to fix everything going on in the world, let's be realistic. But this going beyond talk, going beyond concepts, and building those relationships, we sit together, we learn and serve together. And anyone who is welcome is willing to sit down with us and give everyone else the same respect. This is part of the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God that Jesus talks about. And that, my friends, is worth being hopeful for. So what are you angry or grieving about? Or alternatively, what's taking your energy away from you? If you're willing, share a story from your life that made you hopeful recently. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.